Hello friends, this is Sherry from Turquoise Dreaming. How you doing today? Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me. So this is my Thrifty Tuesday video, but since we are not shopping, I did not shop and I didn't bring anything home this week, but I thought, well, maybe I can just use some of my thrifty treasures that I've shown you before that I haven't used, like I started a challenge at the beginning of the year, challenging myself to use things I haven't used. So this could go along with that. Using things I haven't used, things I brought home from the thrift store. So one of those things was these envelopes right here. They're student-teacher envelopes where I believe the kids, they're from a school, weekly envelope, Greensboro Public Schools, and I believe the kids, would bring home their work in this for their parents to look at each week, and then the parent would sign off on here. So anyway, about 6 months ago or so, probably, I brought these home and never used a single one of them. Didn't do anything with them. I put them in my closet. I've been thinking about ways to use them, but haven't used any of them. So I thought, well, this might be a perfect opportunity, since I'm not bringing things in, to have something go out. So anyway, I got this envelope out. I got one out already, and I cut it up and made things. So I know that probably nobody else has these exact envelopes, but maybe you have some brown envelopes, maybe you have some contact paper, cardstock, and maybe you have other things that you haven't used, and you could get it out. What I did was just get it out and say, what do I want to do with this? What can I do with this? So this is what I did. I'll show you. First of all, it was glued together right here, so I kind of just pulled that apart. So I have this big piece of, it's kind of like cardstock too. It's really thick. So I decided to cut this piece off right here. So I have my paper cutter right here, and I will show you what I did. Just my ideas for this envelope, and I think they're going to be fun, useful pieces that I can use in my journals, and and then I will have not wasted these just sitting in my closet. I will have used them. So yeah, they're kind of thick, so let me see if I can get this cut. Feels like it maybe went through there. Yeah, I think it went through. Okay. Yep, I just have a little piece to cut right here. So this is what I did first. Separated the front from the back. And then I said, well, I like these lines on this piece right here. I like these lines a lot, like, journaling, journal cards, lines, it all adds up here. So then I just started cutting these up, this part right here. I just cut up, I thought these would be really cool journal cards. So I kind of lined them up so that I could get the sides even and just cut these up for future journaling cards. And I'll show you what they look like here in just a second. I'm going to try to get these even on either side here. Not done with it yet. Now, I could take this further and decorate them. And I'm saving these strips. I'll show you what I'm doing with these too. I kind of challenged myself to use every piece of this envelope. And I think I pretty much did, so. So I basically get 3 journaling cards out of this back piece. And like I said, I have about 10 or a dozen. I don't know if I did say that, but I have about 10 or a dozen, 10 or 12 of these big envelopes that I got at a thrift store. Who else would want them besides me, right? So then I just cut the top off here, made a little topper type thing, so it looked like, to me it looks like it was always like that. It was always meant to be like that. I think they look really cool. I know it says parent signature and date, but there's a lot of things that we put in our journals that, guest checks you know, all kinds of things that say different things, but we use them. We use the lines and we decorate them, and we use them for writing and things like that. So this is the same, you know, along those same lines. So here I've got myself 3 really sturdy journaling cards, and the front has lines, the back is blank. So here's my other 3 from the first envelope that I did. So now I've got 6 journaling cards, and they are nice and narrow, so they can fit in about just any journal or pocket or a tuck spot. Okay, now the next thing I did, I've got these scraps here, little squares. These are cool. And I've got these strips, so I'll show you what I did next. Those are the cutoffs from the back page that had the lines. So next I looked at the front part and I said, I like this right here, weekly envelope. I really like that. I want to do something with that. So what I did was, let me see if I can find it for you. Let's see. I've got several stacks of things I made here. Okay, here it is. I cut this out and made a long, narrow envelope. So it's right here. This is an envelope. It does open and has a flap. So I just took it, and then see, these are right here. These strips have where I took it apart, so I cut those off. I don't want to mess up the rest of the envelopes. I got to take those off carefully. So then I cut these off. So I just kind of figured this out along the way. You know, what can I do? See, this has that on it, so I could save it, but I don't think I'm going to save that. Those 2 pieces with the tearing on it. I just really don't need it. I have plenty of other scraps here. So I'm going to let myself throw those 2 pieces away and not have any regrets. So, okay, so that was, see how the flap from the envelope's here and the weekly envelope part is on the other side. So then I just cut beside the weekly envelope part, right next to it pretty much. Now let me do this side first so I can see how far away I want it to be from the envelope, the word envelope. About right there, I think. Okay, this is just a little bit longer than my cutter, so it doesn't go to the very end here. I have to cut that with my scissors. I've got another strip I can save, and then this I'm going to try to cut the same distance over here. Let me see if I can manage to do that. I can always cut more off, so let's see. That looks about right. Make sure everything is even here. Okay, and then my little piece at the bottom again. Okay, so I'll show you what I did with that part in a minute. So I've got my weekly envelope here. So what I did next was determine how long I wanted it. So here it is. Here's the strip I did before. And I cut, let's see. I used the whole thing. Okay, see, there's the school, the word schools right there. That's what I did. Okay, I was just trying to figure out what I did. So I took it and I did a little score line. I just never did this before. I just discovered I didn't want to get out my scoreboard, so I took my ruler, grabbed my little bone folder, and placed it above the word weekly here where I wanted my flap to start. And the key to this is simple, but to get your ruler straight, so you make a straight line. Okay, so just kind of line it up with, like, we've got a straight line here, so let's just line it up with that. It's above my word weekly. It looks like it will make a good flap there, and then the key is to hold this tight so the ruler doesn't move when you're making your score line. So then you just run your bone folder along your ruler there, and you have a little score line without having a scoreboard or having to get your scoreboard out. Okay, and then did I make another one down here? I pretty much did. So I kind of decided, where do I want to fold it up? I want the flap to go over. So I'm just going to make a little kind of fold right here on the side where I want my, and I'm just making a score line just so this doesn't make like a little wobbly. When I fold it, you know how cardstock kind of makes a little wrinkly fold sometimes. I just don't want a wrinkly fold. So I'm just trying to basically get a straight fold here, and that's why I'm scoring. That's the only reason I'm scoring. Okay. Here we've got a score line. It does make a score line. See that? Let me hold it up close so you can see it maybe. Hopefully you can see that. So then I just fold it on my score line. Very easy. And move that out of the way. And I have, let's see, now it's a little uneven here, let's see, for some reason, but I can cut that off. Okay, so let's just cut our extra piece off here. No big deal. Just using up this envelope for something useful instead of sitting on a shelf, right? Okay, and then I like the corners rounded. It just made it look like more like an envelope. So, and I think I'm not going to glue this one, and I'll show you why. I can glue it later if I decide, but right now I'm going to leave it open because these are just going to be in my stash for when I make a journal and I need an envelope. So I'm going to leave it like this and decide on the closure for this one later. On this one, I did not put a, well, I put a little circle here so I can go like this, kind of bend this back and put it under this little circle. But that was kind of, you can see it's kind of, you know, I don't know if I really like it, but that's what I did on this one. So that's why I'm not doing anything on this one right now. And I thought it would be really cool if I could leave it like this if I don't use it for an envelope, and it could be a journaling spot later. But we'll see. I'll decide on that later. For right now, I like it that it says weekly envelope here, and it's in an envelope shape. Okay, so I've got 2 of those now. And then, so that was journaling cards, a weekly envelope, and then I made out of this piece with the flap, more envelopes. So I just basically took my paper cutter and cut envelopes in the size that I wanted. So I don't want them to be too wide, because if I want to put them in a pocket, I want them to be able to go in a pocket, right? So I'm making them kind of on the narrow side, not too wide, not too narrow. They don't even have to be all the same size. I'm not measuring. I'm just kind of, that looks good and cut, right? That looks good and cut. And here's a little bit wider one. I'll leave this wider so I don't waste any paper, but there's a little extra piece here that I need to cut off because this envelope flap had a angle on it. So I'm just going to cut that even. Okay, so I'll show you what I did next. I'm going to have myself 4 envelopes here, 4 small envelopes. And again, I took my little score and kind of on the spot score here, scoreboard, and made a score. So I'm going to make a flap here. That's what I'm going to do. And I tried putting the whole ruler up on top of the bottom here, but the flap didn't come down quite enough. So I'm going to put it down, the ruler down over this part right here. I'm going to put the ruler down over that a little bit, probably about halfway. I think is good. And then I'm going to make my score line. Again, just lining it up with the top. Here you can see that's a straight line. So kind of just line it up with that and try to get it straight. And then make your score line. And I'm trying not to move. Hold it down tight and just score line. Okay. Got a score line, and then fold it down. You've got a flap. See if it's all, make sure it's all even. If it's not, you can kind of even it up here. Okay, is everything straight as far as even and extra paper anywhere? I think I just need to even it up a little bit on this side. Still got my allergies going here. Okay, so then I'm rounding my corners to make it look more like an envelope. And so like these, I'm not going to glue either. Well, I might glue one just to see what it looks like, because I've been not gluing them. I made already 4 from the previous envelope, and I didn't glue any of those. So let's go ahead and glue one and see what it looks like. So I've got my art glitter glue here, and then I can decorate these according to the journal. Like if I want to decorate one and I have a journal that's whatever theme it is, sewing or cooking or whatever, I can use my whatever I'm using to decorate my journal and decorate these at the same time. I'll have these already ready to go in my stash. So we're just gluing this one together, and you can sew on these too, or whatever you want to do. But there we go. We have a little envelope, and I'm not going to pull on it, but you know, you can see that's where you put something in, and you have an envelope. Okay, I'm going to put this one over here to dry, and we'll make 3. Well, we have 3 more to make. And I'm not going to glue these. I'll show you what I did with the rest of them, because I didn't glue the others, like I said. So let's go ahead and make all of our score lines on these real quick, so we can get these done. So put my ruler about halfway up on the bottom flap. There's one score line, again halfway up. Yep. I'm surprised that I just didn't want to get out my scoreboard on that. Let me just try scoring right here like this, and it worked. Okay. So let's fold all of our flaps, make sure they're folding even and squared off and everything. Okay, that one looks good. That one looks good. That one needs a little adjusting. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to round all my corners before I forget. So I'm going to round the top and the bottom. You could angle your flap too if you wanted to. You could angle this, cut it like that at an angle. I like the round corners on both the bottom and the top. And then I can decorate these too if I want, or leave them like this, according to whatever journal I'm working on and whatever theme or whatever it might be, eclectic or, like I said, theme of some kind. Okay, got those, and now I'm going to show you what I did with the other ones. All I did, an easy closure for flip up, flip down is what I'm basically making. And I just have been, I kind of like this, and I won't do it to all 3. I'll just do it to one, and I'll do finish the other ones off camera. But what you can do is an easy closure. before you glue it down on a page. Say this is a flip up, flip down, or maybe you're not going to glue it down, maybe you just want to do it like this. Get some string, ribbon, whatever you want to use. This is baker's twine. Wrap it around the back, and then get a piece long enough to wrap around and tie a bow. So I just kind of go like this, wrap it around the back and pull it up a good distance, probably about 7-8 inches on both sides, top and bottom, and then just cut it off. So if I'm going to glue this down in a journal, I would glue it down on a page or wherever. Glue this down, get it like this, glue it down, and then you have your tie closure here. You just take it and tie it closed. I just make a little bow. Make a little bow, and then you have a secret journaling spot inside this envelope. So, pretty cute, right? So there you go. And then we have 2 more, which I'll finish with the little closures later. So now I have what I have in the one we just glued together. That's an envelope. So I'll show you all of them when we're done here. And the other thing I did with let's see, what other cutoffs do we have here? All I have left from this envelope is this right here. So what I did was I made myself some little circles out of these strips right here. This one's torn from the side where we separated the two, so I'm going to get rid of that one. So see, this one's good on both sides. Even though it has that, I can still use it. And these are all good. Nope, that one's torn too. These are all good. Okay, so what I did was make myself, I've got 2 punches, a 1/2 inch and 1 inch little circle punches. Okay, and I just made myself a bunch of little, and I'll have these ready to use too if I need, and I'll show you where I used 1 or 2. I was going to use these actually, and I decided they were too big, but I did use one on that envelope I showed you. Let's see, where is it? It is, I showed it to you just a second ago, but I have a bunch here and I can't find it now. But I used it on that envelope I showed you. I decided it was too big, and so I made some little ones. These are the 1 inch, but I'll have these ready for when I need some 1 inch circles, and they're the nice kind of neutral color and the kind of brown envelope color. And then I made a bunch of these right here. I think you can probably see these right here on my table. The little 1/2 inch ones, I made a bunch of those. And then I did end up using 2 of those right here. I'm not doing this on camera because it was a little fiddly and hard to do. And I don't have it down, the technique, so I'm not going to try to show you that. But I basically took 2 of those little 1/2 inch circles, punched hole through the circle and the flap here, and I'll undo it on both of these, 1 here and 1 here, and just punch hole through both, and then put a little one of the little metal pieces through this one and this one, so that would hold them on. Tied a piece of baker's twine on there, and then I have myself a little wraparound here to close the envelope. So you can do that if you want. It's a little fiddly to get all the holes lined up and get your everything in the right spot, so I didn't want to try to do it on camera, but I think it's really cute if you can do it. So I'll have to practice that and get better at that before I try to do it on video. So that's what I did with my strips, 1 inch and 1/2 inch circles. And then with my other envelope, I ended up with some longer strips. So I made tags. I made a journaling card, which is a blank, ready to decorate, and a tag shape blank, also ready to decorate. With this one, I have squares for some reason. I guess I cut it or something different. So I guess I'll get these ready to go and just round off the corners, and these will be ready to do whatever I want to do with these. But now I've used 2 of those envelopes, thank goodness. They're not just sitting on my shelf anymore, and I can grab these when I need them. And you can just dress them, decorate them, whatever you want to do. So I think that's really cool that I have all of this now from those 2 envelopes. I'll cut these off camera. I'm not going to, cut circles on camera. You don't want to see that, I'm sure. But so I'll show you all the stuff I have now. All of these envelopes. 1, 2, 3, which are not glued. These are not glued. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these type, and they're so cute, right? And then this is a long one that's not glued. This one is glued. Oh, there's the other big circle. It was on this one. I forgot which one it was on, but that's the big circle that I didn't feel like it worked out well, but I still like it. So one, long narrow envelope that's glued and one that's not glued, and then a long tag, a journaling card of this shape, and then these 3 that I just cut. This is the one we glued, the envelope that was smaller that we glued, so that goes over in this pile. And then all of these, which I really love too, journaling cards with the lines, and I think I ended up with 7 or 8 of those, 6 of those, because there was 3 spots on each envelope. So very cool. I can see myself going to town and getting all of these ready, because I can see myself using a lot of these in all my journals, and I think that would be really fun and everything, really. So anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Even though I didn't buy anything new from the thrift store, I used one of my thrifty items that, was sitting there. And so until we can go shopping again, I think that's what I'll do. I'll look through and find something that I brought home that I haven't even touched yet. And I knew it would be something cool. That's why I bought it, but just haven't had time to do anything with it. So I will see you next week, and everyone have a great week. And I challenge you to use your thrifty items that you haven't used. So happy crafting, and have a good week.